for a championship.
A double play, wins it for Frazier.
Turn it to the end zone. What a catch. McKayaton touchdown.
Into the layup, goes at the buzzer.
Elijah wins it, the championship.
This presentation of the NFHS Network is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
Ten games are in the rearview mirror for the Moon Tigers and the Gateway Gators, and it's time for the WPIAL 5A quarterfinals at Pete Antamarino Stadium as the Gateway Gators host the Moon Tigers in a WPIAL playoff matchup. We wish you a pleasant good evening here at Pete Antamarino Stadium. Adam Gusky, Vince Russo on the call for you here on the NFHS Network. And Vince, as we take a look at these two teams that are familiar with each other's styles, but not each other.
No, I mean, these two teams haven't played since 1971. The Gators winning in successive years, 69, 70, 71, by a combined score of 110 to 21, but that's not relevant whatsoever. Tonight, years and years later, we've got two teams who have diametrically different styles. They've played against those styles in different games, but it's a Gators pass attack versus a run-heavy wing tee offense for the Moon Tigers. It's going to be really interesting to see who can establish the way they want this game to go early in this one.
One thing that is for sure for the Gateway Gators is they are going to have to look out for the Moon area Tigers and how they get after the quarterback.
They do. They've been able, anytime they've been able to get into the backfield and disrupt things, it's been a long day for the offenses that face this Tigers defense. They've got ample size. They pride themselves on physicality. This is a program that's just 2 years removed from a WPIAL runner-up performance and very nearly knocked off Penn Trafford at Acrisure Stadium. So they took a year, rebuilt, went 1-9 last year. This roster has grown up quickly. They brought 15 starters back on both sides of the ball, and they're ready to try and make another run.
Conversely, the Gateway Gators are a regular appearer in the playoffs, but they have had their struggles as of late in the WPIAL postseason.
3-game home losing streak. They've had the table set with games here at Antamarino Stadium and just haven't been able to execute. 3 years ago, they lost that heartbreaker against Peters Township. 2 years ago, the bye made them rusty. They lose against Penn Hills. And then last year, lose a real close barn burner against Upper St. Clair. And so it feels like hopefully the fourth time is the charm now. You've got a loaded cast of seniors. I think the storyline each and every game is, can this team, the Moon Tigers, keep up with such a super talented receiving core? We talked to some folks from Moon off the air. They run cover zero often. They're going to be in a man-to-man sort of space, so there's not going to be a lot of help. If these receivers get behind Stephen Jenkins, Kenny Lewis, Derek Selby, could be a long day for the Tigers.
Quite a dichotomy between the way these two teams enter the playoffs. For the Tigers, they enter the playoffs after a big conference win, 42-16 against the Baldwin Highlanders. Meanwhile, the Gateway Gators fell 51-7 in a meaningless game here at Antamarino Stadium against Pittsburgh Central Catholic.
And they got out unscathed, got out healthy. Certainly a game where you could feel the atmosphere was sucked out a little bit from that game, and you wonder, does that hang over into this game a little bit, as to where Moon went into that last game needing a win to punch their ticket, and that desperation kept them in sort of a rhythm or a flow. And so we'll see, what does that look like here for that first quarter? But I tend to think here at home, knowing that they've come up short the last few years, the Gators are going to come out ready to go in this one, ready to get after it.
One thing that is definitely for sure as we look at this Gateway team versus recent Gateway teams is they are a team that doesn't hang their head, kind of has short memories, and that will do well after the way the Gators performed last week against Central Catholic.
Yeah, a team that's been resilient all season long, and Moon much of the same. Both teams started out 0-3. Both teams finished the regular season 5-2, including winning the majority, and for the Gators' sake, all of their conference games and getting themselves to this point. And so, yeah, a lot of resiliency from the Gators this season. They've been able to shake off some of those tough games, even that McKeesport game. Just the sense coming out of that game in past years, you'd see the Gators really wallow in that. That was a game the Gators felt like they should have won, and they sort of carried that attitude moving forward into their final conference contest, knowing they were a good team. They were a worthy winner in that game, just came up short and made some self-inflicted wounds.
Gateway Gators, the champions out of the Big East Conference. Moon finishing second in their conference in this 4 versus 5 matchup in the WPIAL playoffs. And we'll be keeping an eye on all of the games here in 5A.
It should be a good slate tonight. I tend to think two teams that'll have a bit easier of a time with it will be Pine Richland and Peters Township, who I know a lot of folks and a lot of the publications across town think are two of the best teams right in this moment in 5A. That's your 1 seed and your 3 seed. Game we talked about off air, and a team that's well coached and can run the ball well. Watch for Penn Trafford against Penn Hills. I bet you that ends up being a really interesting game. Certainly with Julian Duggar behind center for Penn Hills, they've got no shortage of talent. But there's just something about that Penn Trafford team this time of year and the way that they run the football in this cold weather, I think really bodes well for them.
Of course, that game being played not too far away from here at Penn Hills High School, just a community away. Gateway will kick off to begin this football game. As they will head left to right across your screen, Blake Marsh kicks off for the Gateway Gators.
At his own 40-yard line.
2 Tigers back to return, standing at their own 10-yard line.
Stewart and Brunna are back to receive for Moon.
The run up by Marsh, and we are underway in Monroeville, PA. This one will carry all the way across the goal line and into the end zone over the head of Brunna. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the 20.
Saw a couple guys getting their licks in early. Casey Carter, Jackson Smith. They didn't care that ball was headed toward the end zone. If you don't get your head around, they're going to pop you on special teams. And so laying the lumber, setting the tone here early, that's a good sign, seeing these Gators fired up and ready to hit someone.
Wildcat right away for the Tigers. Brana, the Wildcat QB, running left. Gaping hole. Close to first down yardage before Brana is finally dragged down by S.J. Moorfield.
We talked about this is going to be a comparable sort of offense to what we saw McKeesport run with their own wing tee. Going to be a very similar approach to the game and how they just keep running the ball at you like Penn Trafford did. Gators are going to have to get up for this one, try and get in the backfield, stymie this rushing attack.
This time they're going to go to the right. Ladle running right, picking up the first down. So he picks up about 4 out to the 33 before being brought down by a pair of Gators.
This is a Moon Tigers team that has a ton of different guys that are going to be toting the rock throughout the night. At least 5 guys with 150 rushing yards on the season.
End around handoff as Brana gives it to the motion man coming from right to left. And Travis Lindsay is brought down as he picks up about 3 across the 35 to the 36.
Good job by Harris, wrapping the ball carrier and dropping him there. Moon going quick here. Up-tempo offense to start on this one.
Running to the right-hand side is Brana. He gets it out across the 40 and is wrapped around the waist and brought down at around the 42-yard line.
Stop by 11.
Tackle on the play by Mark Knight.
Brings up a 3rd and short. Gators got to keep contained and try to see. Is Moon going to go north-south? Or are they going to try and go east-west with this one again? Look for them to give the ball to Bladel here, the senior, the big guy. He's their main ball carrier, over 900 yards in the regular season. They really like to ride him whenever push comes to shove.
So I'm not sure if that was Knight or Jackson Smith on the stop, because Smith is out there at the left inside linebacker spot with Ahmad Harris on the right side. As to the ground goes Bladel this time. He surges his way forward before being dragged back by Jackson Smith amongst others. That's enough for another Tigers first down.
Yeah, good stop there. They didn't give up much, but problem was they had their backs against the wall. They couldn't give up anything. And so a short gain and a good tackle there to stop a full head of steam from the ball carrier there, but just enough to keep the chains moving. And this is the kind of game Moon wants to play. Possess that ball, keep Brad Birch and company off the field, and just keep chipping away. 3 yards in a cloud of dust until that one play you let up, and they're off to the races.
Brana, the QB of sorts. He hesitates and tries to cut it left, and the Gators are there to stack that one up. Ahmad Harris charges through after the play was originally settled by Stephen Jenkins.
Yeah, you run towards number 3. You got to really know what you're doing, because he can get off blockers quick, and there, see him blow that play up in the backfield.
Did a great job shedding the block of Nicholas Clemens and shutting that edge down, allowing Harris to come in and make the play. Harris, who missed significant time this year with an injury that came early in the season. Good to see him back in the lineup. Joined by Jackson Smith. As it'll be Nazir Brookins running to the right side.
On the carry.
Out to the numbers where he's brought down after a gain of about 6, bringing up 3rd down and 6.
That brings up
Brookins.
3rd down.
Surprised it took him this long to get him his first carry. He's got 735 yards, 7 scores on the season, second behind Bladel, who's reached pay dirt 10 times this season. This is a Moon Tigers team that's only passed the ball 99 times in the regular season, as opposed to the Gators, who have over double that number in the regular season.
Bladel, the back, running right, has blockers. He picks up the first down as Mark Knight makes the stop over on that far side.
Nothing complicated in what they're doing. Just lining up in the backfield, getting the ball quickly into their best ball carrier's hand. With that wing tee, they're able to get those wing backs into blocking positions quickly as if they were tight ends. And then from there, just trying to get guys with a full head of steam to initiate that contact and run downhill. And the Tigers and their ball carriers, they do a really good job of that.
Running left this time are the Tigers. Ball carrier is Moyer, and Moyer picks up about a yard before he's brought down by Jackson Smith.
And the Tigers, their bet is that if they do this 4 times, at least one of those 4, they're going to get enough yards to get that first down. You could stop them 3 times, but one of those 4, they're going to beat you to the spot, beat you to the outside, or find a hole. And so far, so good. They're moving the ball at will here against the Gators.
The back is Brana. He's going to run left. Steps through a hole. Wrapped and brought down as he carries it inside of the 40. Tackled by Ahmad Harris. And the return of Harris couldn't come at a better time, Vince, because with the way this Moon Tigers offense runs the football and the way they set up, this is a vastly different formation, the way the Gators are lining up here. They've got defensive ends in Mark Knight and Jacob Santo, and then they've got the traditional defensive ends lined up closer into Noodles, the big nose tackle. Feigning right, then going back left is the back for the Tigers. I think that was Josh Bladel that time. He's brought down, getting to the 36. Again, it's Harris on the stop.
Yeah, they call him the mullet, and you can see certainly the mop coming out of the back of the helmet. And so now this brings up a real interesting 4th and 2, and inside the opponent's 40, you'd think that they're going to go ahead and go for it here.
The back, Brookins. He pushes the pile. Looking at the spot, that's just enough for the first down. He needed to get to the 34. Looks like he got to the 33.
Nice initial push in there and just sort of leaned forward before a whole cast of Gators got in there and sent him backwards in a hurry. And Tigers, like I said, 4 plays. If you know you're running a 4-down offense with the way you run the ball like this, you need about 2.5 per, and that time it's about exactly what they got to get that first down.
Tigers running to the left. Brana brought down by Jenkins.
This is a Moon Tigers team that averages over 250 rushing yards a game. Notice no variation in what they're trying to do here. They're one of those old school dying breed teams in high school football anymore where they're just going to line up and run it straight at you again and again and again. And there's a little bit of variation in who's going to get the ball and what they're going to do, but for the most part it's line up blockers where you want them to go and have the guy run after them and force the opponent to stop you.
Bladel driving his way forward, picks up about 2
over the middle.
to the 27.
Stop by Knight.
Mark Knight on the tackle. Jackson Smith also in on the stop. Again, this formation for the Gators defense just so vastly different than what we saw all year long from Gateway. You know, you see Roberson Louise June on the one defensive end. The other side, you've got Kane and Bandy. Your nose tackle, Raman Payne. We talked about Noodles already. And then you've got Santo and Knight basically playing further outside, like outside linebackers, basically a 3-4 at this point. As running right is Brookins, and Brookins is able to drive the pile and pick up another first down.
And this has got to be so incredibly frustrating for the Gators. They've got to find a way, and you just talked about how they're trying to move guys around and get in position to fill some of these gaps and try and counter the unique formation that Moon is running in this wing T and just lining guys up. It's so unsophisticated what they're doing, but it's been so effective thus far.
Bladell running right. Picks up a handful before being tripped up.
They're lucky he lost his balance there after taking a hit there on the outside. Like Ahmad Harris got a hand on him. And another Gator, I didn't see the number, got in and put a helmet on him, but if he's able to keep his footing there, he's probably off to the races for 6.
Brana running right. Found a crease. Slides out of a tackle and is forced to the boundary by Kenny Lewis, but another Tiger first down.
Adam, we are at the 3:32 mark in the first quarter, and we're still in the first drive of the game. This is incredible, the way that they have possessed the ball. They started a little more up-tempo at the start of this drive. They slowed just a little bit, but they're still perfectly in rhythm, and they are just chewing up this first quarter clock on the way down towards the 10-yard line.
And this is the first time the clock has been stopped since the Tigers snapped the ball for the first time. Up the gut, Bladell drives his way down to the 1.
Bladell on the carry.
Bunch of Gators there, including Jackson Smith on the stop.
Stop by Knight and Jenkins.
They just keep coming. All the momentum right now. Gators on their heels. A 9-minute drive thus far for Moon, looking to punctuate this one early, get a lead.
We'll go to the big back. Brookins gets to the 1, picking up just 1 yard. As the Gators seem to anticipate where he was going that time.
Santo and Jenkins.
So Stephen Jenkins, Jacob Santo on that tackle, and the clock continues to wind. And the Tigers are just 1 yard away from pay dirt. Bladell into the end zone for a Tigers TD.
Bladell for the touchdown.
It was as simple as it can be. Just line up and keep coming. It's right downfield at the Gators, and Gateway gonna have to lick their wounds, get to the sidelines, try and get this high-powered offense out on the field and give this defense a little bit of a rest, because Adam, they just spent almost the entirety of the first quarter out there on the field, and death by 1,000 paper cuts there as Moon just able to inch away 4, 5, 6 yards at a time all the way to the end zone.
Gateway offense.
So the timeout on the field, and Moon taking a lead on the Gateway Gators 7-0. We'll take a quick pause. You're watching the Gateway Gators and the Moon Tigers on the NFHS Network. And we welcome you back to Antamarino Stadium as the Gateway Gators trail the Moon Tigers by a score of 7-0. Adam Gusky, Vince Russo on the call for you this evening in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. And Moon got the ball at their own 20 after Blake Marsh's kick carried into the end zone for a touchback, and they just methodically churned up the field and turned down the clock. occupying 9.5 minutes of football, Vince. Just an impressive drive. And, the Gators had the Tigers on their heels once, but Moon was able to get that first down on 4th and 2, picking up 3 yards. And then every time Gateway thought they had to stop, Moon was able to pick up just enough to get a positive play each time.
Yeah, the Gators got them into a couple third down situations and then that 4th and 1. But the way that the Moon Tigers were able to run, there were no losses. All of those plays went forward. They had a couple that got stopped for minimal gain. But when you're staying, we talk so much this season about staying on schedule. When you find yourself moving the ball effectively on 1st and 2nd down, you're staying on schedule, you're staying ahead of the chains, and you give yourself, if you do get into a 3rd or 4th down situation where they're incredibly manageable and you only need a couple yards. And those were the situations the Tigers put themselves in, very advantageous. And then when those occasions arose, they were able to execute, get those first downs, and eventually punched it in for 6.
Warfield and Lewis are back to receive.
So let's see what the Gators can do with the football, as this one will bounce to around the 28-yard line, and the Gators will go on the return. It's Jenkins, one of the up men, out to the 40. So the Gators have decent starting field position as they look to answer back.
Stop by 25.
This is certainly an offense that doesn't need a ton of space. They can move the ball quickly, but it certainly helps when you've got the ball out at the 40-yard line, close to midfield. Now we get a chance to see Brad Birch and company come out. Birch got that 1 touchdown last week in what otherwise was sort of a not super fun to watch exhibition game, frankly. So he puts himself just 2 away, trying to get to 100 passing touchdowns. And certainly one on this drive here would really help the Gators early in this one.
Birch looking right, throwing right, pass complete. That one is pulled in by Reynolds out of the backfield, and he will be brought down inside of the 25 at the 24-yard line. And a big play to get things started for the Gateway Gators.
Talked about with some folks, we were chatting with some folks from the Moon broadcast team, and very few high school running backs able to catch the ball out of the backfield or down the field like Jaquan Reynolds does. Great opening play there and a great carry by him to drag some people along here on 1st down.
Over the middle.
Jaquan Reynolds picking up 5 yards inside of the 20 to the 19-yard line. So the Gators are into the red zone as Travis Lindsay gets involved in that tackle. Play action, toss to Kenny Lewis on that left-hand side, right through his hands. And that may have worked out well for the Gators because it looked like the Tigers had sniffed that one out and could have been a loss for Gateway instead of just an incomplete pass and lick your wounds on 3rd and 5.
He certainly would have had to have made a move there. He had the defensive back, Dominic Kolokoris, coming downfield quickly at 6 feet, 150 pounds. And good job there with the hard count, getting the Tigers to go. That should gift wrap a 1st down for the Gators.
Offside against Moon. 5-yard penalty.
So after the penalty,
First down for the
ball
Gators.
moved to the 14. So that much closer for Gateway to answer back on the Tigers. Birch flushed left, still on his feet, and now he's going to step forward and ends up only being a loss of about 3. It could have been a lot worse, but a great job by the coverage unit for Moon to not allow Birch to find anybody downfield as an outlet.
Well, especially after plays are broken like this, that's often where you find receivers are able to sort of slip behind defensive backs or find that soft spot in the defense. So you really got it's easy to keep with a guy maybe for 3 to 5 seconds, but to stick with him for 12 to 15 seconds like you saw there, that's some excellent coverage.
Birch tossing to the right, and it's intercepted. High pass intended for Selby, and it falls into the hands of a defensive back in Jared Moyer. And the Gators take the ball all the way into the red zone, and another red zone turnover for the Gators.
And that's been the story in the games they've come up short in. Namely that McKeesport contest, or turnovers in the red zone, or even turnovers on downs, just not being able to come away with points. That's killer. And a couple sailed throws there early by Brad Birch. Both the screen out to Lewis was a little high, and then going out towards Selby this way. They had a lot of success that first play, throwing down the middle of the field, and then sort of went outside on everything else, and that luck evaporated quickly, and that one just tipped and fell into the hands of the Tigers, who now get cracked to go back at it.
Brookins, the ball carrier. Dancing to the right, pushing the pile. Oh my goodness, what a push by the Tigers. And it looked like it was going to be a gain of 2 or 3. And it ends up being more like 5 or 6.
Well, the pile stopped for about 3 or 4 seconds, and there was no whistle. Right here, you wonder why there's not a whistle. They just decided to let that one ride. And hard to keep pushing for that long, but the Tigers, they stayed on it, got the better of it, and were able to move that forward for a nice little gain.
Bladell, the ball carrier this time, or in all likelihood will be, as he'll run to the right-hand side instead of the jet motion. And Bladell is met at the line of scrimmage and brought down. And every time the Gators did that against the Tigers on the Tigers' first drive, the Tigers answered right back.
And even there, this should have been a loss. Should have been able to get there quickly. A couple guys miss. And Bladell, a little slippery for a big fella. Did a good job getting away from a few there and falling forward. Make it at least third and manageable.
1 quarter in the books. It's the Tigers 7, the Gators 0. You're watching WPIAL playoff football on the NFHS network.
With great brands at the best prices at Academy Sports and Outdoors, you'll always find more fun. More of this, and more of this, and this. So you can do more of that, and that, and that, and definitely some of that. While getting together for more of that, and that. Yes! Have more fun with great brands at the best prices, only at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Feels good to be off the sidelines, doesn't it? Oh yeah, it does. That extra effort with AHN Sports Medicine got you back here. With every specialty set, custom training day, and personalized drill, you bettered your body. Now line it up. They don't see this move coming. Told you. Go next level with AHN Sports Medicine.
And we're back at Pete Antamarino Stadium. It's the Tigers 7, the Gators 0, set to begin quarter number 2. Tigers with the ball after the Gators drove the ball into the Moon red zone, but then ended up turning it over, as the Gators have a propensity to do, as Brana runs left this time. Nowhere to go. This will bring up 4th and a handful.
Stephen Jenkins just came from the entire other side of the field. You'll see him in the bottom here. Look at that hustle. He's able to get in there and bring the ball carrier down. An excellent effort on 3rd down to make this 4th and about 4. And it looks like they're thinking about keeping the offense out on the field. This is a big gamble here early in this one.
Yeah, Ryan Lynn sets the offense on the field. Let's see what they do here. Looks like they're just trying to go for the hard count. And Bladell still standing in there. Play clock down towards 5 at this point. Gators say there's some movement, no flags fly. And now finally Ryan Lynn takes a timeout.
Timeout, Tigers.
Yeah, the game where you've held a decent amount of the momentum to try and go for it on 4th and 4 at your own 29. A good job by the Gators sniffing that out for what it was, which was just trying to lure them into an encroachment penalty in the neutral zone, and they stand pat. Now they'll have an opportunity to hopefully get this ball back and finish what they started on the last drive, which was moving the ball really well between run and pass on a few plays before a couple incompletions and that interception.
Well, a couple of encouraging signs for the Gators through the early portion of this game. Number 1, offense moved the ball like you just said. Number 2, figured out how to stop that Moon running attack on this most recent possession.
There's no shortage of size and strength on this defensive unit for the Gators. If they can find themselves in the right position and get those kind of efforts out of guys like Steven Jenkins, who are just such game breakers that not many teams, even at this level at 5A, that many teams have, you're going to put yourself in a position to allow your playmakers on the other facets of the game to really make plays. And here's one right here who's gotten better as the season has gone on. Kenny Lewis on both offense and especially here on special teams. A couple real big returns and a punt return touchdown a couple weeks ago.
Hayden Boland on to punt. He has the PAT to his credit today. To go along with the Tigers 1 kickoff as that snap a little high. Gators not with a lot of pressure though. Kenny Lewis retreats, now takes it on the hop at the 28. Running left. Spins, gets to around the 37. And then the Tigers are there to make the stop. Leading the charge is Joseph Marasco.
Gateway ball.
Lewis so athletic to just pick that ball up off the bounce and be able to turn that into a nice return. If he lets it go by him, might have been the smarter play, some coaches might say, but that would have pinned the Gators back deep. Instead, they start virtually from where they started at, right around the 40 on that last drive, and got an opportunity with a shorter field to try and make hay here.
Birch, straight drop back. Coming across the pattern, Kenny Lewis slides out of a tackle. Gets towards that first down marker before being driven back by a gang of white t-shirts or jerseys. And that'll be enough for a first down for Gateway. They say 10 yards on the dot for Kenny Lewis.
First down.
Such a great second effort. He has been arguably the hardest guy to tackle offensively. Brad Birch being up there as well with the way he's been able to scramble this season, but so elusive is Kenny Lewis.
Toss to Reynolds. Couldn't hang on to it. Could have been a good thing for Gateway because Paul Brana and company read that one well.
I'd like to see them continue to try and go use that middle of the field. They've sort of been lured into getting screen happy again here like they did early in the season, and Moon's just ready. They're sniffing it out. It hasn't been there. Time to try something else. Time to dial something else up offensively.
Birch. Quarterback draw. He's got the first down inside of the 40 where he's finally brought down by Travis Lindsay.
Like that. Try that. That worked really well. The Gators have done such a good job with design quarterback runs this season. It's been such a nice wrinkle, especially that quarterback draw. I mean, Birch, such a talented passer, one of the top 5 in WPIAL history in yards and touchdowns. Freezes defenses up there whenever he's able to do that.
Play action. Birch tossing complete. S.J. Moorfield. Gateway has it back inside of the red zone.
And Moorfield's got some nice hands now that he's got that big mitt off that he had for most of the season with the hand injury. Shows the nice soft hands there across the middle of the field. Nice route. Able to get that separation. Gators back in business. Got to get points here, though.
Birch, hands off. Reynolds cutting it up the middle. Feigned left initially and then was able to pick up positive yardage inside of the 15 to around the 12. Kalakoris involved on the tackle.
Nice balance here. They've only ran the ball a few times, but Every time Reynolds has touched the ball, something good has happened. See if they go his way again here.
Handoff Reynolds bouncing right, cuts it upfield. Looks like he's got the first down.
Reynolds again.
Another real nice second effort. Able to shake off the arm tackle here, and a good vision to bounce this out right there. Able to stiff arm bounce off of that would-be tackler and then drags a few folks along to get to that first down marker. Rocco Sinatra, the one in there on the tackle.
He did the tackle his way. First and goal for the Gators. Handoff, Reynolds following blockers, spinning all the way down to the 1-yard line.
Over the middle.
For as much as that Moon game plan has been simple and they've just sort of run it downfield, hey, if Reynolds is going to have these kind of holes and this kind of production, good job they're hanging onto the ball if they try to swipe that one away. I'd go to number 2 again here.
That's what they do, and he'll take it into the end zone for a gateway touchdown.
Don't overcomplicate it. This offense has been best all season whenever they've been around the goal line, giving it to number 2 there. That's touchdown number 15 on the season. One of the leaders in 5A is Reynolds, and a couple of 1-yard rushing touchdowns. We're a PAT away from being knotted back up.
That's that resiliency we talked about with the Gateway Gators that we hadn't seen, Vince. You know, a season ago, a couple seasons ago, things changed this year as far as resiliency. Broken play here. And the Gators weren't able to get the PAT off as the snap, hold, kick wasn't able to be completed, and Moon maintains the lead. And for quite some time, Blake Marsh spot on kicking PATs. And then something's happened over the past several weeks where he's missed them or something's broken down in the rhythm. And that time, the snap from Jackson Smith and the hold from J.R. Phillips, something went awry there.
Yeah, certainly can't put any of that on 88 on that one, but the kicking game has had some moments of brilliance. You know, Marsh nailed that field goal in the late 30s yards range to put Penn Trafford away. But a little issue here on the PAT is, as you said, coming down the stretch, and boy, is that important in these sorts of games. How many times have we seen these games over the past 3 years come down to kicks at the end of games? Talk about losing by 1 point to Peters Township after not being able to execute on PATs. And 2 years ago, missing a field goal at the death that would have pushed the game against Penn Hills into overtime. And those have been 2 or 3 years, your playoff losses, because the kicking game wasn't able to get it done.
Quick timeout on the field. We'll step away 2. It's the Tigers 7, the Gators 6. You're watching WPIAL playoff football on the NFHS Network. Back at Pete Antamarino Stadium, it's the 4-5 matchup in the WPIAL 5A playoffs. It's the Tigers 7, the Gators 6. Taking a look elsewhere in the WPIAL playoffs, Peters Township at the end of the first quarter leading the Franklin Regional Panthers by a score of 7-0.
Obviously, that's going to be the game that the winner of this game travels to take on. Elsewhere, chalk holding as Penn Trafford just got on the board, but it's still 14-7, a couple early touchdowns for the Penn Hills Indians. And no score just yet. Haven't seen anything out of Pine Richland and Bethel Park in that 3-6 matchup.
Surprise onside by the Gators, but the Tigers saw it coming, and it's scooped up, and Ryan Culligan will take it back for a kickoff return for a TD.
I don't know that I have words for that, Adam. If you're going to do that, you got to be ready. And that time they kicked it right into the mitts of Culligan, who just took that one back. And boy, it's hard to gift wrap points for a team any easier than that. And in a playoff game, you just got your momentum back. You did miss the PAT, but you worked the ball down the field, and boy, does that loom large, just given a 7 spot up like that.
Officials sorting things out here. Gators were offsides on the kickoff attempt. So obviously Moon will decline it as our referee goes and checks with the, wait a minute here. Gateway was offsides, which means that it was a flag before the play here, Vince. This play didn't happen.
Wow. What an absolute break for the Gateway Gators. I mean, you talk about a seismic shift in momentum. And obviously, Moon traveled well to this game, and they are not happy. I don't know that Don Hall has ever been so happy to see his team penalized, because that just took 6 points off the board for the Tigers.
And by the letter of the law, if the kickoff team is offsides, the play is dead.
No touchdown.
Wow.
Penalty against the Gators.
Good call. And just an absolute break for the Gators, who a massive misexecution on that onside kick.
Kick off the game.
Don't suppose they'll try that again here.
I don't think so. I don't think it would be much of a surprise onside at this point. This one will die at around the 20-yard line where it's scooped up by Stewart, and he's got nowhere to go.
Stewart on the return.
So boy, do the Gators dodge a bullet by committing a penalty.
First and 10, Tiger ball.
What a seismic shift, as I said, in momentum from a quick swing one way and then swings back the other way. The Gators look like they give up a real costly touchdown. Instead, they're able to pin the Tigers back to where they got 77 long yards to go to pay dirt, and chance to try and continue to turn the tide here as this defense is able to force that 3 and out on the last drive and looked really, really good doing so.
So back to the ground, the Tigers go as usual. Bladell nowhere to go. The Gators all over that one.
Boy, and they're letting him run too. They let him, kept trying to fight through that no whistle. You'll see right here, good job by Jackson Smith knifing in there. The freshman taking on the senior running back. They didn't blow that whistle, so Raman Payne and company said, well, I'm going to get my licks in too. They came in, lowered their helmets, laid the boom, and this is a Moon team that tries to inflict that punishment as much as possible. So when you've got an opportunity to hit them back, try and inflict a little pain yourself, you're going to take that opportunity every time.
Loss of 1, 2nd and 11. Bladell running right, driving the pile. Brought down by Mark Knight. Pickup of a handful brings up
over the middle.
2nd down and 6.
Stop by Knight.
So they try and keep Moon behind the sticks here.
3rd down.
It's big time 3rd down. A lot of these early, the first possession, Moon, they made their bread and butter being able to get themselves into 3rd and short situations. So now they got a long 5 yards to go, and the Gators have an opportunity to try and get off the field again.
Yeah, so 3rd and 5, not 3rd and 6. Ball was moved a little bit after the initial spot. Tigers going to go straight up the gut this time. Brana surged. Got 1 yard shy of the line to gain, but then got shoved back, and there's a flag down in the backfield as well.
Those normally indicate that that's coming back.
Procedural penalty against the Tigers is going to cost them 5 yards. So it's going to be 3rd down and 10 now for Moon. That was a big decision for Don Hall there. It was take the 4th and 1, but the way they run the ball, you want to give them the opportunity even though it's deep in their own territory. Or in this situation, 3rd and 10 is probably the way to go.
I think so. This is a team that's loath to pass. This might be a situation where they drop back and do so. Their leading receiver on the season only has 7 receptions. Talked about this is a team that's only thrown it 99 times all season. So you put them in a position where they likely have to go to a part of their game that they're not as well versed or comfortable in. And you count on this talented defensive secondary for the Gators to get a stop.
Andrew Cross, the sophomore quarterback, came in there, and a timeout was taken by Coach Ryan Lynn prior to the ball being snapped. So the Tigers going to talk things over here with 6:46 to play here in quarter number 2. So we'll take a break too. It's the Tigers 7, the Gators 6. You're tuned in to WPIAL Playoff Football on the NFHS Network.
Hey, conductor, how about something new? You played this last year.
Come on, get your head out of your sacks.
Shh, we're trying to hear.
Well, I'm sick and tired of hearing your kid play the wrong notes. Where's my kid solo?
At least you can see your kid. Why is my kid stuck way in the back?
The conductor only plays his favorites.
My kid heard that solo.
You saying I did?
Yeah!
There are back at Anna Marino Stadium. 6:46 to play, second quarter. The Tigers 7, the Gators 6. Gateway missing a PAT opportunity after the snap between Smith and the hold of Phillips didn't come through. And the Tigers have a true quarterback on the field for the first time in Andrew Cross. Cross, play action, rolls left, throws, the pass is incomplete, too high for Ziegler, and he got a rib full of a Gateway D-back in the process.
Yeah, good job by Kenny Lewis there, keeping an eye on the sticks and realizing that that wouldn't have been long enough for a first down anyway, and Lewis getting in there and making a hit. You know, he doesn't see if that ball goes through the hands or not. You got to make sure to be sure on the tackle there. So good job following through by Lewis. And now the Gators with a golden opportunity to seize control momentum in this game. They've got Lewis with his heels already in Tigers territory. See if he can't bring this back on a nice return.
Punt by Boland away. Lewis retreating, catching it on the fly. Into Tigers territory, he's off to the races. To the 30, the 20, the 15, the 10, the 5, end zone touchdown Gateway.
No laundry on the field, and Lewis, that nice little hesitation move, and then just wait for his blocks to develop, cut it straight upfield, had one man to miss, did so. Boy, is he just so comfortable back there. You see a little bobble here right off the jump. That doesn't bother him. He's able to get that acceleration going quick. Look at that, great vision, great speed. He is one of the most dynamic returnmen you're going to find in this region. And he just single-handedly flipped the momentum in this game for the Gators. Surprised they're not going for 2 here, just trying to get that extra point.
I think they feel comfortable with the way they've made adjustments since the end of the first quarter. High snap, hold down, kick up, and that PAT by Marsh is good, as the Tigers certainly applied some pressure.
Credit to Marsh there. That was not a perfect snap and hold on that one either. Take another look at the touchdown return by Lewis. But Marsh was able to just sort of will that one through with the boot. Boy, yeah, you talk about it, Adam. After that first drive, you started to get flashes of the McKeesport game with Keith Spell and how they just kept coming at the Gators, and they never really were able to stop that McKeesport offense. Here against the Tigers, you get 2 consecutive stops quickly. You're able to turn that into points. After your first drive, you were in the red zone and had that costly turnover off a tip drill ball. And so Gators are playing like the better team. They've come around. Now it's, can you keep that going? In years past, we've seen the Gators put together stretches in playoff games, but not be able to create enough distance towards the end of the game to win comfortably and open the door for comebacks and late drives. Certainly in that Penn Hills game, they got behind by a bunch before having to rally. So now you find yourself in front playing really well. Can you keep that momentum going and really take control of a game here at home and have the Moon Tigers start thinking about that drive back across town?
Let's not forget about the Ryan Culligan kickoff return for a touchdown. That was not after the Gators were offsides on the kickoff after the Gators' first touchdown of the game. They were going for a surprise onside. Culligan scooped it and returned it for a TD, but it was all for naught, as we said, because of the ball or the Gators being offsides, as this kick by Marsh is a bouncer. And Travis Lindsay puts a knee down as he gets the football here at the 30-yard line. So the Tigers will start 1st and 10 at the 30.
If you're a coach, Coach Lynn, you're just happy your up man caught it, didn't fumble it, no issues. Most of those guys are trained, if they do get the ball, to just fall on it. We've seen the Gators have a few up men return the kicks because in the case of the Gators, their up men are guys like Steven Jenkins, who are used to having the ball in their hands on offense frequently. They just have that level of depth, even on special teams.
True QB stays in there, and they're going to fake the pitch, run the scissors play coming to the near side, and Bladell is brought down a few yards deep in the backfield.
Speak of him. Sometimes I think we've gotten lured in by how explosive Steven Jenkins is on offense. Arguably coming down the stretch run here this season, he has been a bigger difference maker on defense. And that time he read that play perfectly, stayed at home, waited for that back to come back around and drops him in the backfield for a 1st down loss.
Running right, Brookins picks up what the Tigers lost on 1st down and more as he crosses the 35 to the 36, bringing up 3rd and 4.
There must have been some words here at the end. You see S.J. Moorfield puts a shoulder into him. Him and Mark Knight get into a little spat. No flags. Cooler heads prevail, but the Gators they got sucker punched after that first drive. They've come back. They've settled in this heavyweight fight. I don't know if the Moon Tigers are appreciating that all that much.
Cross is going to hand off Brookins. He's got the 1st down, driving the pile.
And Brookins there taking that frustration out after that last confrontation with Mark Knight. Saw the steam coming out of his nose. He was angry, puts his head down and just wills himself forward for that 1st down. As it's a Moon Tigers team that maybe needs a little jolt after the last couple drives. Looking a little flat. Gators have really risen up to the occasion and stymied this rushing attack.
Cross under center. Flags fly from both sides. They're going to say it was Gateway who encroached. There was some movement, but I think what Rahman Payne saw out of the corner of his eye was Travis Lindsay going in motion, which was certainly legal.
Unfortunate to give up 5 yards there and to make things even easier for this rushing attack for Moon. We just got to brush that off, put it in the rear view, try to make a stop here.
Brookins running left, and the big fella picks up 4 of the 5 needed for a 1st down, making it 2nd and a very manageable 1.
Nice. 2nd down, 1.
That's a tough spot to be in now, looking at 3 consecutive plays where you're going to have to try and keep them from gaining a yard. Because that seems like Bladell's been kind of held up, and Brookins has kind of been the guy here on this drive who's been finding success.
Pitch coming to the man in motion in Brana, and Brana picks up more than enough for a Tigers 1st down inside of the Gators 45 to the 41.
Certainly if you're the Tigers, about 4 minutes on the clock here, ball at the 40-yard line. Not inconceivable to see them run this clock down to be the last team to touch it here in this 1st half. That's probably what they were going to try to do if they have their druthers, try to take the lead into the half, keep that Gateway offense off the field.
Brookins rumbling left, picking up just a few.
Over left tackle.
Actually marking more like a gain of 4 on that play, so 2nd and 6.
2nd down, 6.
Probably going to be the key overall is keeping that Gateway offense off the field. Talk about 3 drives for the Gators offense, 2 touchdowns, and a 3rd red zone trip. I mean, they have found a lot of success here in the early going. Or rather, 2 drives, 1 touchdown. Forget that special teams touchdown was a drive all on its own. But case in point, they've been moving the ball really well. For the Tigers, the recipe to success is keeping number 12, his cast of weapons off the field.
Quick official stoppage for an equipment issue. That is righted, and now a pitch to Brana coming from right to left, and the Gators sniffed this one out this time. Previous time they ran that play, it led to a Tigers 1st down. Not that time, just a gain of 2 or 3, makes it 3rd and 3.
get a stop here and even try to move this pile backwards. Likely 4-down territory here for the Tigers. You'd think that they're in full go mode here under 3 minutes left in the first half. I think if the Gators can find a way to get a stop here and get points of their own, that's exactly what you need on 3rd down. That's a big stop there.
Straight up the gut, the Tigers wanted to go with Joseph Marasco, who lined up at the tailback behind the QB Cross, and that'll bring up 4th and 3.
This feels like a big play. I mean, you get the ball back here with about 2 minutes left if you get this stop. If not, Moon really has the opportunity to drain this clock and go ahead.
So the Tigers will motion the receiver from left to right. Cross, barking a hard count. Now steps under again. Pitches to the motion man. That's Bladell. He's got the first down for Moon.
They do a good job. I mean, when they pitch it back like that to Bladell, he has the opportunity to be just going with a full head of steam. He's able to initiate a lot of that contact a lot of times, and he's a big guy. Not a lot of people want to run straight at a guy who's that size.
Flag flies before the snap. False start against the Moon Tigers. That's going to cost them 5 yards.
Those feel like even more consequential or costly against teams that do butter their bread with the run game. This Gators team can brush off 5 yards because they throw the ball downfield. A lot of times they're connecting on throws downfield. You're starting with the ball in the backfield. It just makes it that much harder having that much further to go.
Cross in the shotgun for the first time today. Throws it down the middle, complete. The Gators were sleeping, and Moyer finds a soft spot and picks up a first down, and the Tigers have it in the Gators' red zone.
Not even play action, Adam. There was no threat of run there. Just a wide open receiver with no one around him. Moyer in the middle of the field. Luckily, Lewis able to range over, lay the boom. That would have been an easy 6 otherwise.
Brookins will take it from the tailback spot. Stacked up, picking up just a few inside of the 10 to the 9. So Tigers in a precarious spot here because they have it now 2nd down and about 7. The time winding towards a minute to play here in the second quarter, but they only have 1 timeout remaining. Cross, hands off, Brookins can't drive the pile. First Gator that was there was Ahmad Harris.
Boy, did he look gassed. Look at him, no acceleration. That looked like a guy who maybe needs a halftime break. I mean, he's been running the ball incredibly well tonight. Give him a ton of credit. You see him check out there. He had no real juice on that one, and the Gators took advantage. The clock is running.
Sure is. Cross under center. Hands off. Up the gut, close to the first down marker. I'm not sure it's quite enough for Bladell. And the Tigers will use their final timeout as this brings up 4th. According to the flag over there, the down marker over there, 4th and 1, as that is spotted shy of the line to gain.
Yeah, he saw Cross run up. He thought it was a first down, so he was running towards the huddle to try and get them to spike the ball. So good job by Lynn intervening and calling that timeout. Really the only option they had there, especially on a 4th down. I mean, you effectively, unless they pick up the first down, which is a pretty razor-thin window to do so. I mean, you really kind of have one shot here to throw the ball to the end zone. You wonder what they'll scheme up. You could hypothetically try and run it, same deal, and you get one crack at it essentially. Because even if you do get that first down, you might be able to clock it with 22 seconds, depending. So there's a lot of variables here. You can kind of do both if you're Moon, but you got no timeout, so you got to be ready to spike that ball if you do pick up the first without scoring.
Again, this the WPIAL 5A quarterfinal matchup, 4-5 in the bracket. The Gators the 4, the Tigers the 5. Fourth down and 1. Big play time for both lines. Bladell, the Wildcat, spinning, lost his balance, and the ball came loose as well. And they will say Bladell is down at the 1 as the clock, the clock stopped because it was a first down, excuse me. And now Bladell will spike the football as we are down to 13 seconds to go in the second quarter. Taking another look at this one, from our vantage point, can't tell when the football came out. We saw the Gators pointing that they got it, but I do think Bladell was down.
Boy, does this set up an interesting circumstance? Do you run it and give yourself effectively one shot here, or do you try and switch it up and go with that passing game? I assume you maybe try 1 or 2 passes with 13 seconds left, or actually really you have 2 plays here because it's second down after the spike. Maybe you pass it once and then try to run it once more. See what they do.
Cross is going to keep it himself up the gut. The officials run in, and Cross is in the end zone for a Tigers TD, and we are tied at 13-all with the PAT on the way.
You get in that close and really just sort of need to fall forward, get that one quick initial push, and Tigers have done a good enough job of getting that, even though the Gators have gotten better as this game has gone on of stymieing a potent rushing attack for Moon, and now an opportunity to go ahead going into the half.
Boland on for the PAT, where he is 1 for 1 on the day. And that PAT is good, and the Tigers reclaim the lead on the Gateway Gators, 14-13. Scoring thus far, the Tigers were on top 7-0, then 7-6. Gateway then scored and made the PAT, making it 13-7. And then the Tigers on another methodical running drive, cap it off with a 1-yard touchdown run for the sophomore QB, Andrew Cross. And the PAT up and in for Boland. And we've got ourselves a 1-point game. The Tigers in the lead now.
Well, you have drives of 9 and 5 minutes, essentially. That's 14 minutes out of that 24 in the first half. Not to mention the Tigers had the ball 2 other times, those being 3 and outs. And so they have definitely controlled the possession game and have kept that ball away from the Gators offense, which has been successful when it's been on the field. And now you'd have to think probably a squib kick upcoming. They'll probably try and keep it away from Kenny Lewis. And from there, if you have a few seconds, you do still have 2 of your timeouts, or all 3 actually. Gators haven't spent a timeout yet. And perhaps an opportunity to just try and chuck one deep, maybe call up a trick play. Gators have had a lot of success with those this season, so don't get up and use the restroom or go get a snack just yet.
So Boland will kick off. S.J. Moorfield and Kenny Lewis are the deep return men for the Gators. Boland, bouncing kick to S.J. at the 15. Cutting it near side. Finds a crease.
Needs to get down.
Spinning. And he'll get down, but the quarter will expire. And Gateway will go into the locker room trailing the Moon Tigers by a score of 14-13.
Well, Adam, I mean, you're a missed PAT away from being deadlocked and back to square one after 24 minutes. And essentially, that's what we have. I mean, you have a game that's been pretty even. The Moon rushing attack's probably been the difference. It's given them the slight edge, other than that special teams blunder. And the Gators just haven't had the offense on the field much in the second half. It's going to be interesting. Can they get Moon off of the field and keep them away from taking away 5 to 9 minutes each drive and just keep that offense out on the field so they have the opportunity to keep putting up points?
Seems like the Gateway defense, every time they get the Tigers on their heels, they're able to find an answer.
And a lot of that has been staying on schedule, gaining yards on first and second down, having third and fourth short opportunities. And it's tough when a team keeps coming at you like that. The moment that you sort of exhale and take a deep breath is the moment they gash you for 15, 20 yards. We haven't seen much of that tonight. It's really been methodical 4 to 8 yards at a time, and just death by 1,000 paper cuts, as I said earlier.
How about the way the Gators were able to run the football on their touchdown drive, and not just Jaquan Reynolds, but we saw a big run by Birch.
Yeah, like I said, with such the threat of pass from Birch, who has over 8,000 yards, 98 passing touchdowns. Anytime he drops back, you're immediately thinking pass. So he drops back, has the patience, wait 1 tick, 2 tick, and then boom, takes off. And my goodness, he's been really adroit in running the football here as this season has gone on.
You've got to think that if you go into the second half, one key for the Gateway Gators is get the ball in the hands of Kenny Lewis. With that punt return, he shows what he can do with his hands on the football.
Yeah, let's take another look at that. My goodness, Lewis, just such a good job. We talked about it, the little bobble here at the beginning. His confidence is so high. He's able to just take that in stride, makes one man miss, and then from there, beyond being shifty and just so incredibly quick. Foot races, he's not going to lose too many of them, and he didn't lose this one. So had the drop in the first half, and a ball was a little high. Going to be interested to see how they find a way to get the ball in his hand and Stephen Jenkins' hands. Hasn't been much of a threat of passing the ball to such great extent. They have a long connection to Jaquan Reynolds, but the Gators' offense has been more effective running the ball here in this one. See if they keep that up, or if they're able to hit on a deep ball. Like we said, Moon's going to play man-to-man on defense. There's opportunities to exploit that with the receiving core the Gators have.
We are going to step away here at halftime, let you enjoy the marching bands from Moon and Gateway, and then we'll return to get you set up for the third quarter. For Vince Russo, I'm Adam Gusky. You're watching NFHS Network.
Our first selection this evening is the Bruno Mars huge #1 smash single in 2012 from his album Unorthodox Jukebox. This is Lock Out of Heaven. Our next selection this evening was at the top of the Billboard Hit 100 charts and won 2 Grammy Awards in 2011. This is All the Lights. Our next selection this evening is the debut single of the rock band The Killers and was voted as one of the best rock songs of the 21st century. Sit back and listen as the band performs Mr. Brightside. The band is under the direction of Nick Barthen, with assistant Abby Finkelstein and associate director Alan Fear. Auxiliary instructors are Sydney Deal and Jen Minnemeyer. Thank you for your attention and support, and as always, go Tigers!
He's going to take it himself for a championship. A double play wins it for Frazier. Jordan to the end zone. What a catch. McIntyre touchdown.
Into the layup goes at the buzzer.
Lucia wins it. The championship.
This presentation of the NFHS Network is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Have fun out there.
Set to get half number 2 underway here at Pete Antamarino Stadium. It's the WPIAL 5A quarterfinals, the 4-5 matchup in the 5A bracket. Adam Gusky, Vince Russo on the call for you here on the NFHS Network. And Vince, as we take a look at that first half of this football game, we talked about it as we went to break. Moon just absolutely owning the clock and matriculating the ball down the field.
Yeah, the Gators, when they had their offense on the field, played really, really well and certainly had the special teams touchdown. The Gators defense has just spent too much time out on the field. Part of that's credit to Moon and the way they're able to move the ball, running the ball, and how that organically eats up more clock than incompletions or other ways of moving the ball do. But then on the other side, the Gators just got to find a way. They got a couple stops at the late first, early part of the second quarter, but those 2 long drives, the 9.5-minute drive to start the game and then that 5-minute drive that culminated in the 1-yard touchdown right before the half, just too long. You just can't have your defense out on the field for that long. They're going to wear down, and you're just not going to have enough opportunities to get your offense out on the field to score points.
As we take a look at this game, it's the 4-5 matchup. The winner of this game plays the winner of the 1 versus 8, Peters Township and Franklin Regional. And as it stands right now, Peters Township in control.
Yeah, up 28-0, looking like the Indians are going to keep that unblemished record rolling into the semifinals, down to the 2-7 matchup. Thought that could be a game. Well, I thought wrong. Penn Hills up 42-14 at the break. So those Indians over just down the road here in Penn Hills, the Monroeville area, they're going to be moving forward. And then Pine Richland taking care of Bethel Park in a 3-6 matchup, 38-0 at the half. So Chalk is holding strong in 3 of the 4 matchups, and it's here, that one missed extra point that has us looking at a Moon Tigers lead 5-4 going into the second half.
Gateway does get the ball to begin the second half, as this one will carry end over end to around the 8-yard line. It's S.J. Moorfield on the return, has a gap. Closes quickly, though, as he crosses the 35 out to the 36-yard line, where the tackle's made by Lindsay.
Had a nice little return before the end of the first half and those dying breaths of the second quarter. And a nice one there to set the Gators up. One thing for this offense, the table has been set. They've had the ball in all 3 possessions past the 35-yard line on their own side of the field. So they've done a good job setting their offense up with a shorter field to work with. And they've moved the ball incredibly well. That one turnover stymied that first drive, but then they came right back down the field with a heavy dose of Jaquan Reynolds and were able to find the end zone on his 1-yard rush. Now, how does this offense look after a real long break in that second quarter?
Birch pressured, rolls right. He's got a lot of greenery in front of him. Cutting it back to the inside, first down, still on his feet to the midfield stripe, where he's wrapped and brought down. Tackled by Sinatra.
Yeah, nice little hesitation. This was a pass play all the way, but right here he looks downfield and sees, boy, that's a lot of greenery in front, and has this nice little hesitation move where he's able to get past Josh Bladel, move himself past that 50-yard line. One play, and they're already into opponent's territory.
Play action again. He'll spin out of some traffic, flag down. He gets to the line of scrimmage where he is hammered to the turf by Clemens.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to feel that one, and unfortunately your quarterback takes a shot in a play that appears to be all for naught. There's a flag in the backfield 9 times out of 10. It's going to mean you're going backwards.
Yeah, the referee threw that right towards the feet of one of the offensive linemen, and that 10-yard penalty will push the Gators back to the 40, bringing up 1st and 20.
On the Gators.
Well, you have an offense that can make those yards up quickly, but you certainly don't love to put yourself behind the sticks. It certainly makes you a more one-dimensional offense. They certainly can go to the ground game here on 1st and 20. Reynolds has been stellar in the few carries he's had in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them continue to go pass here.
Don Hall's going to use a timeout. The Gators not on the same page with their head coach. And in a situation like this game has played out, that is a costly timeout to use. We saw Moon in the latter stages of the second quarter with just one timeout to work with. They were able to make it work and ended up getting the score to take the lead into the locker room. But things certainly can get precarious as you lose the timeouts as regulation runs down.
The Gators we talked about this 3-game home losing streak in the playoffs that have been the last 3 games overall for the Gators in the postseason. They've lost those 3 games by a combined 7 points. Having those timeouts, making your extra points, not getting behind the sticks on penalties. All these little things have been the reasons why the Gators, as talented as they've been over the past 3 years, and the amount of guys that have gone on to play FBS and FCS football, haven't been able to get it done in the postseason. It's just these little areas of execution, the things you don't think about quite as much, that have stymied the Gators and kept them from getting to that next level into a championship game.
End around, coming quickly, S.J. Moorfield from right to left, picks up a block. He's into Tigers territory. He's got the first down. And finally will be driven to the sideline. The first Tiger there was Nicholas Clemens. And that play continued well into the boundary. And Clemens, I think, was the one who ended up dumping S.J. Moorfield down. No flags fly, though.
Boy, what a great run by Moorfield. I want you to look at the bottom of the screen. We'll see if it appears here. Kenny Lewis gave Noah Bauer a ride. Look at that. 20 yards downfield and dumps him off there inside the 35. What a great block, and kept his hands inside the whole time.
Birch steps out of some traffic, tosses to Selby, who's got a crease, and he's got the first down. Fantastic open field tackle by Nicholas Clemens, and he is gassed as the Gators pick up another first down.
Good job. Cut off a little bit there at the beginning of the replay. Look, Birch looked the other way, sold the screen to the left side of the field, came back to the right. And now that hard count is going to give the Gators another 5 yards, as right now the Gators absolutely have the Moon Tigers on their heels.
So now it's 1st and 5 for Gateway, and that ball moves into the red zone.
Now it's been the story all season long. They've gotten the ball down here all season long against opponents. Got to come away with points. Absolutely have to come away with points.
Pump. Stepping up into the pocket. Toss to Kenny Lewis. Lewis, jab step. He's still shaking and baking to the 10-yard line.
Isn't he fun to watch? My goodness. You know what he's going to do if you're a defender. You know he's going to try to juke you out of your shoes, but it just doesn't matter. He's just so good at it. Good protection there. Good job, Birch, stepping up, keeping his eyes downfield, keeping a cool head even though there was some heat in the kitchen. And then from there, Kenny Lewis, he is not going to settle until he has at least 3 guys trying to bring him down.
So 1st and goal from the 10. The Gators go to the ground. Hand off to Reynolds. He'll pick up 2. You've got to do that in these situations because play action is such a big part of the Gateway game that you've got to run the ball at times. You've got to just hand off to Reynolds.
And Reynolds has been so good in the red zone. We talked about it, the touchdown earlier in this contest. 15 touchdowns, all of which came after the first 3-4 games of the season. So essentially 15 touchdowns in the last half a dozen games. He's been spectacular.
Birch hands off. Reynolds bouncing it left. He's got some room, and he's into the end zone for a Gateway touchdown.
Flag in the backfield, which will likely negate this, but case and point. You see good things happen when you get the ball into Reynolds' hands.
Oh, my. And a holding penalty wipes a touchdown off of the board. So now both teams have had a score wiped away by penalty. and they've both been against Gateway, which I know sounds very weird, but if you're just joining us, so we take another look at this one. Yeah, some holding there. But if you're just joining us, Gateway, after their first score of the game, went with a surprise onside. And Ryan Culligan scooped it up for the Tigers and took it back for a touchdown. But the play was negated because Gateway was offside on the kickoff. So now it is second down and goal for Gateway from the 17-yard line. Birch steps up into the pocket. Overthrows Jenkins by a mile, and Jenkins had a step in front of the defender.
I have to see if Birch maybe got contacted during that throw and maybe let that one go a little early, which caused it to sort of sail. Luckily, out of the reach of anyone. If you're going to throw it errantly, at least throw it where no one can get to it. I think he might have been hit on that play when he went to release that, which might have altered that throw to such extraordinary lengths.
Down to 10 on the play clock as the Gators get the call from the sideline. Birch off of play action. Tossing right. Jump ball. Incomplete. The receiver, Kenny Lewis, had the hands on it but couldn't pull it in.
Got to come down with it here, and unsurprisingly, the Gators will bring the field goal unit out to try and go ahead on this one. Nice ball from Birch, puts it where his receiver can go up and get it, and if you're Lewis, you just got to come down with that one. He's had some issues with drops the last few weeks, normally very sure-handed, and on the punt return tonight, he's been excellent using the hands that way. He's caught a couple balls off of the bounce, but that time, just unable to come up with it.
I think Donovan Biggs is the long snapper on this particular field goal play for the Gators, and that field goal is good. Just over the crossbar and just inside the right upright, and Gateway reclaims the lead by a score of 16-14.
And a nice 34-yarder there by Marsh. You do come away a little frustrated that you didn't get 6 on that one, that holding penalty really wiping out any opportunity there. You put yourself in an obvious passing situation on second and third down from your own 17. But hey, if nothing else, you've got a kicker you can count on. That's some good confidence for Marsh, who had the missed extra point, though that wasn't really his fault with the poorly executed snap. Now you get that kicking team into a little bit more rhythm now with a made extra point, made field goal from 34. Anytime you can get points in the postseason, put yourself ahead. Got to take it.
So there's a timeout on the field. We will take a pause too. It's the Gators 16, the Tigers 13, and it's the WPIAL football playoffs on the NFHS network.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool. On the field. Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends. Yeah! Be great. Participate!
So, Vince, we made the assumption on the first PAT for the Gators that Jackson Smith was the long snapper. He's been the long snapper all season long. But on that most recent field goal, I noticed it was Donovan Biggs, the long snapper, and I don't know if he was the long snapper on the first or the second PAT by the Gators today, but we do know that he was the long snapper on that field goal. Nice job by Phillips to get the hold down and the kick up and in for Marsh. Wasn't the prettiest kick, but it doesn't matter, as we said, as long as it gets over the crossbar and inside of those uprights. Yeah, that's what counts. And as we take a look outside, I saw you lick your finger and put the finger out the window. You can see the streamers on the field goal post to our right, at least blowing from left to right across the field. They look to be going basically the same way over on the uprights to our left. About an 8-mile-per-hour wind here in Monroeville, Pennsylvania on a beautiful clear night, 54 degrees. And generally, we've been pretty lucky with the weather. We had that rain before the Norwin game, but we saw some at halftime, but never actually during the action. As the Tigers return the kick to the 35-yard line. And then that return man, Lindsay, is stacked up.
Real anxious to see the adjustments made here on both sides of the ball in this particular matchup. The run offense versus this defense for the Gators. We got a chance, got into the locker room, got rested up. Now can they try and keep Moon from putting together these long drives that eat up so much clock?
So Cross, the quarterback, he's going to hand it off to Brana coming from right to left, and Brana is brought down, met initially by Jackson Smith. Some other Gators near the line of scrimmage get involved on the tackle. Gator just won that time.
Yeah, good job by Smith and company. Ahmad Harris getting out there and setting the edge so there was no opportunity to get to that corner and really break that open for a long gain. They had to try and force the ball carrier back inside, and more Gators waiting there to make a gang tackle.
Cross is going to hand off. Man coming from left to right this time. Bladell. Bladell's got the first down. Shoved to the boundary near the midfield stripe. S.J. Moorfield and Stephen Jenkins on the stop.
Well, and they're just the opposite. The Tigers are able to get blockers out in front. They're able to seal that edge off to their own right. And off to the races is Bladell, who not the fastest guy in 5A, but certainly a little speed there, able to blow that one open for about 15 and a fresh set of downs.
Cross, hands off. This time it's the tailback in Brookins, and Brookins is stacked up after a gain of 2 into Gators territory.
So the Tigers were able to generate the turnover in that first half off the tip pass. You wonder if the Gators are going to break this one open with a 2-point lead here and try to seize momentum. You get a turnover at some point. These run-heavy teams, it's tough. If you got backs that are good at holding on to the ball, if you're not slinging it around, there's less opportunities to sort of snatch that one out of the air. A turnover would go a long way.
Cross, hands off. Brookins bouncing it left. He's got some room out there, but a nice open field tackle. Kenny Lewis with a beautiful tackle. The 5'9", 175-pound junior having to make the open field stop on Brookins, who is listed at 6'2 1/4", but he certainly looks like he's heavier than that.
Yeah, a lot of size there for Brookins, but Lewis, he's so confident. Love the confidence he plays with, and just knifes in there. Takes a great angle at the ball carrier, minimizes that to set up a 3rd and medium here.
Cross will step under center. Plenty of time on the play clock as he will change things and send a man in motion from left to right. And he caroms off of a blocker, and that may have actually allowed him to find a second crease. And that's Tavis Lindsay, who carries it to the 40 for a first down.
Yeah, I got just enough there, and yeah.
First down.
Seems like that sort of helped him hit the reset button as we'll take a look at the replay here. And it kind of pinballed the blocker into a would-be tackler potentially, and so this drive continues.
Like watching a game of pool as Bladell drives his way forward for what looked like was going to be 1 and somehow was able to muscle it for a gain of 4.
Stop by.
Yeah, good second effort, just as able to spin off. Had that on the play where the Tigers got within the 1 right there before the end of the half. He utilized that spin move and just sort of dove forward, willed himself, turned a 1-yard gain into a 3-yard gain.
It looked like 4 initially on the spot, but they do spot it at the 37. Cross is going to hand off Bladell to the left. Met after a gain of about 2.
Josh Bladell on the carry.
Good job by the Gators front there making the stop.
Stop by
Ahmad Harris knifing in there. And
Santo.
Jacob Santo in on the assist as well. And you get a 3rd and medium here once again, but you realize this is 4-down territory. It would behoove the Gators to try and get a stop here in the backfield, potentially force Moon to have to drop back and pass. They haven't done it much tonight, and they certainly haven't been effective whenever they've had to.
3rd and a handful as Cross will hand off, and that's Bladell coming from left to right, and he will wiggle his way inside of the 30 to the 28, and another first down.
That's the first down.
This feels a lot like the McKeesport game, Adam, earlier in the season for the Gators. For those that maybe didn't tune in, every time the Gators scored points or took momentum away from the McKeesport Tigers. The McKeesport Tigers came back with really not all that many explosive plays or drives, but really just 4 yards and a cloud of dust each time. Keith Spell rushing for 200 yards in that game. And with this multi-pronged attack with all these different backs for Moon, they've been able to do the same thing.
Cross play action rolling this way to the right, and it is a Tiger TD. Pulling it on the goal line is Lucas Bender. And for the second time, Moon is able to get a big punch in the air.
Just can't get lulled to sleep like that. A couple open receivers on the back end of that play. It looked like they would have been able to go to Samuel Woolslair on the backside of that play as well. And right now, defensively, the Gators just no answers for this Tigers rushing attack. It's been a tough season for the Gators against the run. They've been able to overcome that in certain games with how well they've passed the ball, but you can't go down and get 3 points and give 7 up the other way.
You've got to remember the Gateway did score a touchdown on their previous possession. It was wiped away by a holding penalty. It really didn't have much to do with the play, but it was a holding penalty, and the officials saw it, threw the flag, and took away a score for the Gators. Gators able to get the field goal, but you see there the Tigers answer right back with a touchdown of their own on the pass to Lucas Bender.
So now for the Gators, it's not a question of if you can move the ball here against the Tigers. They've been doing it at will. It's the same story we've talked about a lot of this season. When push comes to shove, you got the ball inside the 20-yard line. Can you come away with points? And in this case, with the last drive, more importantly, can you come away with 7 points?
And Vince, we have to remember that every time Gateway has touched the ball today, they have taken the ball into their opponent's red zone. Every time they've had their offense on the field, it has led to a drive into their opponent's red zone. 2 touchdowns and a field goal and 1 turnover. Their first possession was a turnover.
Been a nice mix. Other than that turnover, they've really moved the ball well, and Moon with just the 1 sack thus far in this game. Brad Birch has been able to stay upright. He's been able to run the ball effectively when needed. See what they are able to do here. So that takes a high bounce.
And it'll bounce to Mark Knight at the 20-yard line. And Knight showing some speed and power. Out to the 40. That's a nice return. And excuse me, that was Mark. Yeah, that was Mark Knight on the return for the Gators. 6 feet 210. I don't know that you want to get in front of him and make the stop.
Yeah, not a guy that gets the ball that often. He, butters his bread on defense. He did catch a 2-point conversion early in the season, but for all intents and purposes, it's a guy that he gets the ball. He wants to make something of it because he don't get it all that often. And boy, did he do a good job there. Took that at about the 20-yard line. About a 20-yard return. Really not a whole lot of blocking for him either because he was an up man. He just took it himself and ran straight at him.
Birch with Reynolds next to him. Jenkins the motion man. Toss to Jenkins. He's looking to throw. And he'll be brought down in the backfield. Moon had sniffed that one out fairly well. And Jenkins had a quick opportunity to try to throw the ball, I think, to Kenny Lewis, who was the slot on that right side. But the Gators couldn't make anything happen, and ultimately it's a loss of 9.
It's worked so many times this season. They have really done a good job whenever they've dialed up trick plays with the amount of talent they have. But now you put yourself way behind the sticks for the second time in as many drives here in the second half. They were able to overcome that to get 3 points on the last drive and see if they can be as fortunate this time.
Tigers bring the house. Flush out of the pocket is Birch, and he will toss it. It was headed towards Lewis, but well short. That play was clearly designed to go to the left side. Birch did have a safety valve on the right in Jenkins, but he would have had to work a miracle to try to get it over to that side.
This feels like a tipping point in this game, Adam. You give the ball back to Moon on a 3-and-out here. 4.5 left in the third quarter, and an inability thus far to stop the run. You could be looking at a 12-point game going into the fourth quarter.
Birch straight drop back this time. Throws complete. Reynolds first down and more. Inside the 40. Well, that's simple.
Feed that man. He has been excellent with the ball in space in this contest thus far. My goodness. Looks like there's a player down for the Tigers. Can't quite see the number. Looks like 39 down there on the field. Travis Lindsay, the junior linebacker. But my goodness, Jaquan Reynolds with the ball in his hands tonight. Catching the ball, running the ball. Got to get the ball into his hands more frequently, because when they have tonight, it's gone incredibly well.
So Vince, as I rewind, and we talked about the fact that every time Gateway has had the ball thus far today, they've taken it into the Moon red zone. Obviously, we talked about that as being success, but the problem is that there has been too much of Gateway turning the ball over, whether it be on downs or turning it over to their opponent via fumble or interception inside of their opponent's red zone. We saw that a couple of times against McKeesport, and it's one thing when it's the McKeesport Tigers in the penultimate non-conference game of the season. It's a lot different when you're in the 5A quarterfinals.
We talked about it. The margin for error is razor thin. 3 losses by 7 points over the past 3 years, where a drive like the last one, if you come away with 6, you have the opportunity to get ahead enough that doesn't matter.
Quarterback draw, Birch bouncing away from some tacklers, and he will step safely to the boundary. They'll say at the 31, a pickup of 5.
Yeah, nice job there. He had to wiggle right at the last moment. He steps forward. If he goes a little right, he gets walloped by 3 different Tigers. He's able to identify that quickly. A super heady play with not a whole lot of time to react. Gets himself going to the left. A little stutter step gets him 5 yards.
Kenny Lewis, the motion man. They'll go away from the motion, and Reynolds up the gut. Gateway first down to the 20. Beautiful play.
Great misdirection. Looks like they're going to go with the jet sweep there to Lewis, and then right at the last minute, he turns back around and gives it to Reynolds, who's already moving with momentum towards that line of scrimmage. Gets the ball right into his breadbasket. He goes ahead with a full head of steam. That's a first down for the Gators.
Well executed by Birch on the fake and the handoff. Play action. Toss. Oh, Jenkins couldn't hang on to it. Lewis was set up as the blocker, and if Jenkins hangs on to that one, he's at least got the first down.
Just a classic case of thinking about where you're going before you got the ball fully wrapped up there, and Jenkins going to be kicking himself, regardless of how this game ends, to not come down with that one, because it did look like he was going to have an opportunity to get to the edge there with a decent amount of greenery in front of him.
Plenty of time on the play clock as Birch gets the play from the sideline. Tigers send the blitz. And Kenny Lewis and Brad Birch not at all on the same page on that play.
That connection has just not been there these last several weeks of the season. There was the 1-yard touchdown between these two last week, but there's been drops, there's been miscommunications, and stuff you just hate to see at this point in the season, where you've got to be executing at your highest level to be able to advance.
3rd and 10 at the 20. Play action again by Birch. Tosses, it's bobbled and caught by Jenkins for a Gateway TD. What concentration.
What a way to stay with it. Luckily, you only got to get 1 foot down. I'm not sure if he got both of them down on that one, but goodness gracious. You talk about plays that flip a game. Let's take another look at this one. See if he gets at least 1 down. Maybe he gets both. Bobble, catch, 1, 2. Yeah, I think he got both down with possession. That would have been a catch at the next 2 levels. Now they're going to try for 2 points.
And Jenkins is the quarterback. He'll run right, tosses it, and it's caught by a Gateway player. We got to look him up. It's Casey Carter, the tight end, who catches the 2-point conversion.
Yeah, the freshman making it a 3-point game. You talk about, there's been a few freshmen this season that they have trusted. This is a senior-laden team, but you talk about Casey Carter, you talk about Jackson Smith, you talk about guys like TJ Mitchell and Terrence Cole. Those are sophomores, but underclassmen in general. have been called upon in some really crucial moments for this Gateway Gators team. And frankly, more often than not, they've come through.
Let's take another look at this touchdown. A little bit underthrown by Birch, but just fantastic concentration by Jenkins to pull that one in for the Gateway TD.
And that is touchdown pass number 99 for Brad Birch. And boy, in a close game in the playoffs here, would certainly be very sweet to see number 100 come in an opportunity to build a lead or to go ahead late in the game here in the postseason.
Thank you for joining us here on the NFHS Network, WPIAL 5A quarterfinals. Our broadcast crew will have the broadcast of the WPIAL volleyball finals tomorrow at Peters Township High School. That'll start at 11 a.m. right here on the NFHS Network. Blake Marsh will kick off for the Gators. A short kick, bounces to the boundary, and will roll out of bounds at around the 27. That'll move the ball to the 35.
The kick goes out of bounds.
Yeah, can't have that happen. That's going to set Moon up with some really, really good field position. Be around their 35-yard line. You give a shorter field to the Tigers, and now for the Gators, it's time to buck up and try to get a stop here. Been unable to do so these last two drives. Moon has just sort of forced it right down their throats.
Tigers go to the ground. It's Brookins. Now, of course, we've talked about the fact that Moon has buttered their bread with running the football today. But they've had two huge plays, one that set up a touchdown and another one that was a touchdown in the air.
And one of those not even really being play action. They've just lulled the Gators to sleep with a consistent ho-hum ground attack. They're perfectly content to gain 2 yards on first down and keep coming at you and just waiting for that moment. You let up ever so slightly, and then they're going to try to take the lid off and go over the top.
Looks like delay of game based on where that flag came from. The back judge way back at the 40-yard line inside of Gators territory. And that is the call from our referee. Kerry Ripley, our referee this evening, as we have seen a decent amount of him on our screen. And the official's going to try to iron this out. And not sure what the discussion is about, but this is something that at all levels of football has started to be quite off-putting, is the amount of discussion, the length of discussion with the officials. You make a call, you make the call, and that's it. Don Hall not happy. Apparently they're going to say that Moon got the timeout in. Maybe they didn't get a timeout in. I don't know. Maybe they didn't properly reset the play clock. I mean, I don't know what happened there, but after a discussion, it's 2nd and 8.
Whole lot of something for nothing.
Losing his balance, trying to slide his way forward is the man coming from left to right, Bladell. And he's got nowhere to go. Brought down a few inches in the backfield of Jackson Smith, the first Gator there, the freshman linebacker.
And again, talking about tipping points, this feels like a drive where if the Gators can get a stop, get the ball back, get some more points, all of a sudden going to the fourth quarter, start to force Moon to have to think about abandoning that run game and chewing up a lot of clock because time becomes the enemy.
Cross pitching, right to left, Brana. Brana takes it to the boundary. He's got the first down.
Of course, you got to get the stop there, and can't keep letting Moon get to the edge on you like that. The Gators have done a better job between the tackles of shoring things up, but These sweep plays here with Brana out left, right, every which way. He's had a whole lot of real estate to work with, and those have been bread and butter plays for them.
Got to give a lot of credit to Xavier Moyer. He shed one tackler, moved on to the second, which I think really helped spring Brana to that far side for the Tigers. And now the Tigers going to run a little bit of trickeration of their own as the ball comes loose. And it's still loose. Who gets the football? It will be the Tigers, but well back inside of their own territory at the 48.
On the reverse.
So they run the reverse, going inside Bladell.
We lost something equipment-wise on that play, which I think took his focus off of ball security. Good job by our crew getting in there and getting a nice shot to be able to see that there was something left behind equipment-wise. And that was your turnover opportunity there. If you're the Gators, you got to try and get on that one.
Especially when the ball squirts loose the second time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nice to push him back and turn what would have been second and short into second and about 13 near the Baker's dozen. Would have really have liked to come away with that one.
So now they'll have Brana as the Wildcat QB running to the left. Jackson Smith's going to make the tackle, but the Tigers still pick up about 5 on that play.
Still too much, especially when you know it's coming. You got to find a way to get around those big guys up front and the receivers out on the edge blocking. You just got to find a way to get through there.
Ultimately, Brana picks up 7, making it 3rd and 4. And this is another opportunity here for the Gators. Get a stop. Of course, this may be 4-down territory for the Tigers.
I think so.
And right now we see Cross in the shotgun. And he's going to roll right. I don't think the Gators were sleeping this time as the pass is pulled in. Somehow, Rocco Sinatra pulls that one off of his shoe tops. And it's 1st and 10 for the Tigers at the 37.
Yeah, just too soft to coverage there. He's able to slip. They had 2 receivers sort of in that area. And as the one, Nicholas Clemens sort of kept going out on sort of a flag route there. Receiver Sinatra was able to sort of cut underneath him and had just enough wiggle room to find the soft spot, make the catch.
Bladell running left, surging forward, still on his feet, dragging tacklers inside of the 25 to the 24-yard line. And this is just absolutely exhausting for the Gateway Gators defense. This type of running attack is just absolutely, can be demoralizing.
Well, especially when you get 2 third and medium situations and come up empty on both of them. And now you know you're in 4-down territories, so you have to make 4 stops now. And it just feels, yeah, like you said, demoralizing.
Well, Gateway right now with the lead, 24-21, but the Tigers are driving. We're going to step away, back with 4th quarter action. It's WPIAL playoff football on the NFHS network.
You can shop for pretty much anything online. Clothes, food, vacations, you name it. All without ever leaving the comfort of your couch. Finally, banking can be just that easy too. With the all-new FMB e-store, you can shop for hundreds of financial products to manage your money, all from the comfort of your couch. From clicks to bricks, we've got you covered. Experience the FMB e-store in branch, on your phone, or online at fmb-online.com.
At Penn West University, we're making college make sense again for people who maybe thought college wasn't the answer. We're making college practical with programs tied to in-demand jobs that prepare you for success right away. We're making college accessible by breaking down barriers and offering more choices. We're making college approachable with faculty who understand where you're coming from and help you get where you're going. At Penn West, we're making college valuable again for people just like you. Learn more at pennwest.edu.
And we welcome you back to Pete Annamarino Stadium. First play of the 4th quarter missed, and it was a good one for the Gateway Gators because it was a snap intended for the setback Nazir Brookins. It sailed past him all the way back to the 44-yard line, bringing up 2nd down and 28 for the Tigers. And this is Bladell running to the right, picking up some positive yardage before finally being brought down by Phillips on that far boundary. And then a flag comes in after the play, and this may be against the Gators.
And those are the little plays and the things you can't do on what would be 3rd and very long. Just inexcusable to the highest degree if this is indeed on the Gators. When you get a gift-wrapped loss of 20 yards plus on a fumble and then you give them a fresh set of downs, those are the things that lose you playoff games. It's as simple as that.
Oh, my goodness gracious. So like you said, a loss on the play of 18 yards on first down. On second down, they pick up 10 or so. But then you add 15 on top of that because Kenny Lewis got involved with some post-play activities. And now we're at third and very manageable for the Tigers. Bladell running left. Cutting forward, still on his feet. Hit by J.R. Phillips, and he'll finally be brought down at the 14-yard line.
It just feels right now like the Gators are out of answers. Try and stop this Moon rushing attack. And frustration boiling over clearly on that last play as they have been continuing to get gashed time and time again. It hasn't been the big chunk plays. It's just been too much each and every carry, 5-6 yards at a time. And Moon really has not experienced too many threats. They've gotten to a couple third downs, but they've executed each and every time to move the chains.
Brana looks left, cuts right. Picks up a handful to about the 10-yard line. And it's just so frustrating, Vince, when you think about what happened after the first play of the quarter, the ball carrying back towards midfield, covered up by the Tigers. Brana picks up 10-12 yards. Seems fairly inconsequential because that brings up third and still half a country mile. But then you attack the penalty on top of that, making it third manageable, and that continues to keep the Tigers on schedule.
Sure does, and they're well within field goal range at this point. Even if they do decide, if this does get to a fourth down, they don't want to go for it, and all of a sudden you have a tie game where you could have gotten the ball back with a chance to build on a lead.
Bladell running right. Gets close to the first down marker inside of the 10 to, looks like the 7. So it's third down and a couple.
And Lewis. Third down 2.
Now a big third down here for the Gators. Try and potentially force a field goal attempt, but can you stop them from getting 2 yards? You just haven't been able to thus far.
Bladell, no they don't. He's got the first down, and he's brought down at the 1-yard line.
Bladell on the carry. Has the first down.
Bladell just takes it himself. There's a nice crease there, and he's able to push his way forward. And they're just initiating all the contact right now.
And Bladell will drive his way towards the goal line and into the end zone for a Moon Tiger touchdown. And the Tigers have reclaimed the lead, currently 27-24.
Nope, still a lot of time left in this one. The Gators will get the ball back. Got to put together another drive. It puts a lot of pressure on the offense, too, to not be able to get a stop and to realize every time you get the ball, you got to go down and try and keep pace. And what's really become a barn burner between these two teams.
Kick is good.
Kick is up and in, and with that PAT for the Tigers, Moon has claimed a 28-24 advantage with just under 9 minutes to play.
Take another look. It's just been that simple all night for Moon. Line up, push the pile, create a hole, let your talented backs, quite a few of them, get through and make something happen, and they've been tough to bring down. Second effort has been there. Now it's on Brad Birch and the offense to try and come back the other way. Put together another drive. See if we can start with a nice return here on special teams.
Pause on the field. We'll take a break as well. Just under 9 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter. It's the Tigers 28, the Gators 24. It's WPIAL playoff football on the NFHS network. WPIAL playoff football in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. The Gateway Gators looking to avoid losing their third straight home playoff game, make it their fourth straight home playoff game this decade. 2020, 2021, 2022. Now here in 2023, Gateway trailing in the fourth quarter to the Moon Tigers, 28-24. Winner of this game takes on the winner of Peters Township and Franklin Regional, and the Peters Township Indians well in control, 35-0 in the second half.
Yeah, chalk holding for the other 3 games. None of them really close whatsoever.
S.J. Moorfield bouncing it left. Dragging a tackler out towards the 40, so good starting field position here.
Sean Moorfield on the return. Stopped by 39.
So the question here isn't, can the Gateway Gators move the football on the Tigers? The question isn't, can they score? Because we've seen them have the ability to do both today. The question is, if they score, how much time do they leave to the Moon Tigers? And number 2, can the defense get a stop? There's been just one stop today just a couple of stops today for the Gators. One of those was a stop by the Gators that led to a punt. That was a Kenny Lewis punt return for a TD.
Yeah, those came in back-to-back drives early in the second quarter. Otherwise, it's just been a slow and painful march of this Moon offense.
Play action, deep ball to Kenny Lewis, and the pass down the middle of the field. Kenny Lewis was on the right hash. And that'll bring up second down and 10. Still 20 seconds on the play clock, so the Gators appeared to be out of sorts, but certainly no need to take a timeout when you have that much time on the play clock remaining. Handoff, Reynolds, nowhere to go. Brought down at the line of scrimmage.
Stop by
So third down and long upcoming. You just can't give the ball back here on a 3-and-out. Got to be able to put something together here. They've moved the ball so well tonight, but given themselves such a low margin for error with the inability to get stops defensively.
Pass complete, Kenny Lewis, first down and more. He's got greenery in front of him, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone, touchdown, Kenny Lewis.
Wow. And there it is. Touchdown pass number 100 for Brad Birch in his WPIAL career, and the majority of them coming here at Gateway High School for the Gators, and what an emphatic one to put the Gators ahead here in the fourth quarter. Kenny Lewis did a lot of the dirty work on that one. My goodness, is he fast.
And that was an extra speed I don't think I've seen out of Kenny Lewis. There was something that happened around the 40-yard line when he saw that he had one Tiger to beat to his left-hand side. He hit the Jets and was just gone. PAT is up. And good. And the Gateway Gators have reclaimed the advantage. It's 31-28 as we take another look at this one. Birch looking right the whole time, intended for Lewis. Got a nice block from Jenkins, and then off to the races he went. I mean, he looks fast, and that's at 67% speed.
He sure does, Adam. I mean, my goodness. He has been such a catalyst for this offense when he's had the ball in his hands. And certainly there were some issues with drops coming down the stretch, and just an excellent job there getting that pass caught in open space. And the screen worked to perfection that time. It was stymied and slowed early in this contest, and in the second half they've hit on those a few times, those bubble screens, for some big gains, and that time 62 yards, cloud of dust. Lewis takes it to pay dirt.
Well, Vince, heading into that offensive drive for the Gators, I said the key is not can they move the ball, not can they score points. We've seen that. They did that. Now the key is, can the defense get the stop? Blake Marsh will kick off. Gators up 3. End over and kick for Marsh. Down inside the 5. Return Brana. He had a crease, but it closed quickly. Tackle made by Casey Carter, freshman tight end, who had himself a 2-point conversion catch earlier today.
First down for the Tigers.
Nice little return there, but the hole gets wrapped up quickly. And so decent field position, but not great. And the Gators, can they get a stop here? Can Moon? We've seen them put together a 9-minute drive. Does this become a situation where if they keep moving this ball, do they take that clock down and score with not a whole lot of time left for the Gators? The Gators, these last couple drives, have had opportunities to get off the field. Forced a fumble, had a big-time miscue by the Tigers pushing back, but they haven't been able to take advantage of it.
Now Braden Stewart will line up at QB. Now he is listed as a quarterback, the 6-foot sophomore. He runs right. He may be the fastest guy we've seen run thus far today for Moon, but he only picks up a couple as Jacob Santo, amongst others, make the tackle. Ahmad Harris was the first one there.
Well, you did your job on first down, limited them to a short gain. Now can you try and keep them off schedule and behind the chain so that you can force them to abandon the run?
They do not. Bladell off to the races. And finally, J.R. Phillips will make the tackle. And that hesitation by Bladell just allows that crease to open up, and then he took off through it here.
Stop by 23, Phillips.
Yeah, big hole there. And then he turns on the Jets, and Phillips, good thing he didn't grab the back of that jersey. No horse collar tackle, but he got taken for a little bit of a ride by Bladell before he's finally able to bring him to the turf after a long, long gain. And nothing else, if you let him score quick, you get the ball back. But hopefully they are able to get a stop here. It's just been so tough for the Gators in the second half.
Brana now the back. Looked like there was movement before the snap. No whistles blow, though, as Brana will run to that far side. Be brought down after a gain of about 4.
Stop by 6. Harris. Second down, 5.
Clock winding, 6:30 to play.
This game has moved along pretty well here. We started just after 7, 2 hours in. We're getting to the back half of the fourth quarter. Moon able to run the ball so much. It's certainly taken a lot of clock.
Brana running left this time. And he'll be met, brought down. Excuse me, that was Bladel.
Stop by Harris.
Ahmad Harris on the stop. Gain of just about 2 on that play.
And that brings up a third down.
Once again, the tough part of this, Adam, is it's 4-down territory. If they don't get all 3 yards here, they're just going to line up and do it again. And so for the Gators, you got 2 plays, and you got to keep them from gaining 3 yards. And that's been a tall task for a lot of teams this season coming down the stretch against the Moon Tigers. And the Gators have just had their hands full here in the second half.
Bladel, the ball carrier, running right. Hit initially near the line of scrimmage, but Raman Payne couldn't hang on. That's enough for a first down. And you talk about down the stretch for the Moon Tigers over their last 3 games. They scored 42 points against Bethel Park, 42 points against Upper St. Clair in a double overtime loss, and then 42 points against Baldwin in a home game victory to wrap up their regular season. Brana is the back this time. He'll run right. There's a crease there. And he's got close to that first down marker again. Jackson Smith on the stop.
He's been so good as a change of pace ball carrier. They keep hammering Bladel up the middle and coming at you with some of these big-time ball carriers, and then Brana just able to bounce it outside again and again and again. Just feels like deja vu each and every time.
Bladel on second down. And and 1. He'll run right. He's got the first down inside of the 10 to the 9.
That's another instance where if he's able to keep his balance just a little bit better, he walks into the end zone. And at this point, it feels like an inevitability. I think the big thing here is this clock is going to wind 3-ish minutes left maybe by the time that, I mean, at this pace, they reach pay dirt. And then from there, if you're the Gators, it's about that offense. Can you use enough time and score late? Just try to play keep away. It's all part of the chess game down there.
Bladell is the back. Hesitation running right. And he will spin his way to the goal line. He'll be brought down at the 1.
Down to the 1 yard line.
That honestly probably doesn't hurt the Gators. Again, if you can run an effective 2-3 minute drill, you don't, and let's assume, let's say the Gators are able to go down the field and get a score. You don't want to give it back to Moon with enough time to try and put it back down the field the other way. So there's just so many things to consider here. Looks like we got a timeout.
And Gateway is going to use the timeout here.
Timeout.
I think at this point that's just to conserve some time, because I think Don Hall could see that Coach Lynn was going to do his best to take as much time off the clock here.
Yeah, they were going to be able to take that one down to probably about the 2:50 mark before even running the play. So certainly then you talk about if you do, you get a stop there, make it 2nd and goal. This is one of those areas where you think about, do you let a team score? Because, I mean, if you don't, you're talking about either burning some of your timeouts.
And you're down to just 1 at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure there's some people who might vehemently disagree tuning in, but I think you let them score here.
I'm with you. And, Vince, when you take a look at this Moon offense, they're just so efficient. They made one mistake. The Gators had an opportunity to take advantage of that one mistake. The ball was loose. The Tigers got it, but it was 4th and 28. Or, excuse me, 2nd and 28. So on 2nd and 28, they pick up a dozen. It's 3rd and 16. Then all of a sudden, a penalty makes it 3rd and very manageable. Obviously, that's not this drive, but it is something that is super impactful in this football game. Second and goal at the 1 for the Tigers. Bladell the back. He'll run right and into the end zone. Not the worst thing in the world for the Gators.
No, not at all. Bladell scores his 3rd of the night. All 3 of them have been 1-yard runs. And now a really important PAT upcoming. That'll make it a 4-point game if they're able to get this one across. And certainly they have been perfect on the evening. 4 for 4. Hayden Boland has been solid. Can the Gators get a block here potentially and try and make this a 3-point game?
PAT is up and good. We've got ourselves a 4-point affair. The Tigers leading the Gators 35-31 with 3:10 to play.
We will ultimately see the resilience of this Gateway squad. It was about a year ago this time, with certainly a lot less time left in the game, but the Gators fell behind 24-21 against Upper St. Clair. And Adam, when they came out, there just was the look of defeat on their face before they even stepped foot on the field. They got a little bit more time left now. They got a timeout in the back pocket. Can the Gators rise to the occasion 1 year later, put that bad taste out of their mouth of coming up short offensively with a chance to win at the death in a first-round playoff game, and do it here at home in this 4-5 matchup to move forward and face Peters Township?
Non-players remain off the field at all times, including the conclusion of the game. Fans who enter the field of play may threaten the health and safety.
So one thing that is very key is the way the time lines up here. The Gators have 3:10 as they will get the ball. They just have one timeout. Conversely, the Tigers have 3 timeouts to work with. So with their potent running attack, having 3 timeouts certainly would help matters if they're able to get the ball back should the Gators score on this upcoming drive. Bouncing kick will be returned. It's Jenkins from the 30. And he's got nowhere to go. Forearms down at the 35.
Jenkins on the return.
And it'll be 1st and 10 for the Gators. Just 65 yards from pay dirt.
They've got the talent to move this ball quickly. And again, how quickly do you want to move it? Moon has all 3 of their timeouts left. That is a crucial thing to keep in mind in this contest. Should the Gators only take 1 or 2 minutes to score? If you're Moon, you want to stay in tempo. You've been an up-tempo offense all year, but you just don't want to score too quickly. And certainly that's jumping the shark just a little bit. They got to go and do it here. Boy, do we have a finish lined up for this one.
Birch play action. Tosses it down that far side, and it's, oh my goodness. I mean, that hung up there forever, and Nicholas Pizzoli just couldn't pull it in. That would have been an INT, and in all likelihood would have ended this football game.
It certainly would have made things very, very precarious for the Gateway Gators with just 1 timeout and a Moon offense that's been humming all night. Whew! Another big break for the Gators there.
Birch tosses right, complete. Reynolds. Oh my goodness, somehow tripped up. Minimal contact by Brana. And I think had he held his footing, he would have been able to pick up the 1st down because he had some nice blocking over here on the sideline, but instead, modest gain of 1, 3rd and 9.
He did. Malik Anderson set the table for him. Just couldn't keep his feet.
Birch going to go deep to Jenkins. Jenkins. No flag down. Jenkins was cutting inside. Brana was in the coverage. And we'll take another look at this one. But in live action, it looked like it could have been defensive pass interference.
It certainly did. Gets there definitely a little early on that one. That's a tough call. Tough missed call.
That is a missed call, undoubtedly. I know the officials sometimes don't want to have an impact in the game. Right there, they had an impact in the game by not calling a blatant foul.
Timeout, Tigers.
Timeout, Moon.
Well, this is probably your ball game here, Adam. One opportunity to keep the chains moving, to keep this drive and the season alive for the Gators. They've been slow to try and hit that deep ball throughout most of the night. They really haven't taken too many shots downfield. That long touchdown just moments ago by Kenny Lewis was just a quick screen where he was able to blow past the 2nd level of the defense. And now, do you try to work the middle of the field? Do you set up another screen and hope that you're able to spring another guy loose, or do you just take another deep shot? You do have a Moon team that's been playing man coverage all night. They're one-on-one matchups. A lot to think about here if you're Don Hall and company. Who do you go to here? Kenny Lewis has been extraordinary, but he's had some drop issues late in the season. Steve Jenkins has been reliable, but he had a drop on a short pass earlier tonight too. Boy, is this crowd coming to life for the Moon Tigers.
4th and 9. Toss to Lewis. Hits the gas pedal. He's got the 1st down.
Oh my.
Pass is complete to Lewis.
Needed 9, got 10. Just enough to keep the chains moving. And now if you're the Gators, exhale for a moment. Again, you're not trying to score too quick, but this is the drive right here. 2:19 left.
Gateway doing a very good job of utilizing as much clock as possible in this situation because they're such a fast-moving offense. They'll go to the ground. It's Reynolds. He picks up one.
Reynolds over the middle.
Great self-control by Chase Gabriel. At the end of that play, he got tangled up with Nicholas Clemens, but cooler heads prevail, and they both walk away. Second and 9 with less than 2 minutes to go. Play action. Birch tripped up. And he is shaken up. And Gateway is going to use a timeout here. I don't know. Taking a couple looks at that one, that could have been a leg whip by Nicholas Clemens. You know, we saw that replay. Let's take another look at this one as Birch has Clemens coming from his right side. I don't know if it's just a continuation of the motion or if that's an intentional leg whip, but it certainly didn't look to be the cleanest trip up by Clemens.
Not conventional by any means. Did not look like there was an intentional effort, unless it was an incredibly acrobatic effort to do so. But take another look at it here on the replay. It looked like the player had been sort of blocked into a position where he was falling down, and that leg sort of kicked out organically. And now, once again, the Gators find themselves behind the sticks with 90 seconds left. 2 cracks at it here. Boy, do they love living on the edge here.
Winner of this game will take on the Peters Township Indians at a site to be determined. Birch stepping up into the pocket, spinning out of traffic, running to the far sideline, and he will step out of bounds near the midfield stripe.
I mean, that works. You didn't need all of that right there. You have a 4th down here. So you get yourself into a position where it's 4th and manageable, and you can use a lot of different plays in your playbook. You don't have to go deep here, but you wonder if they just might.
3rd and 17, and they turn it into 4th and 7, so a gain of 10.
Plenty of time on the play clock. No need to rush.
Birch off of play action, has time. Throws it complete. Derek Selby to the boundary. Gateway first down.
Oh boy. Living on a knife's edge here. 2 big 4th down conversions. Selby short-handed. He had a couple drops the other week that led to him not getting nearly as many looks these last few weeks. And here comes up with potentially a season-saving reception.
Gateway sending 2 either way. Lewis, the motion man from left to right. Toss to Reynolds. Slides past the tackler and another. Still on his feet. Inside the red zone. Brought down at around the 15.
That's big. That stops the clock on the 1st down. If you can get the play in quickly, you can get yourself back to the line of scrimmage without having to clock it here, waste it down. Still plenty of time. Over a minute left. You don't need to spike it here. Get the play in. Again, you want to score with as little time left here if you're able to do so.
Clock winding. 50 seconds to go. Toss.
Got a man. Oh!
Just overthrown. Birch.
He knows it too. Look at the body language. They'll get another crack at it, but oh.
That was Kenny Lewis, the intended receiver, and he had 5 steps on the defensive back.
Yeah, he was in the clear. How's everyone?
My heart rate is flying.
I was going to say, how's everyone doing at home?
I'm currently at a brisk 100 beats per minute. Quarterback draw. Birch, he's going to go. Gateway touchdown. There's a flag down.
Listen to this crowd. Everyone is losing it down there.
So holding against Gateway. It's going to be a loss of 10.
For the Gators, you just got to get back in the huddle. Next play. You cannot, in this situation, lament what just happened. It's unfortunate, but you still have the momentum here. You've got the Tigers on their heels. And let's see if we can see just exactly what happened here. Right there at the top of the screen looks like where they got that call.
It was a nickel dimer. Birch steps up into the pocket. He's going to throw it to the end zone where it's intercepted by Moon. And the Tigers will advance to the WPIAL semifinals. And if you're K&M Bandy right now, you're sick to your stomach. He was the offensive tackle on the left of that formation on the quarterback draw. That led to a Gateway touchdown that was wiped off of the board. Parenthetically, the second Gateway touchdown negated by a hold today.
Hard to come up with words. We've seen this happen now 4 times in a row. The Gators flashes of brilliance and just not enough when push comes to shove.
And I'll tell you what, Vince, I mean, I know it's a penalty, undoubtedly. But is it consequential to a play in a playoff game in that circumstance? You've got to ask yourself that question, because earlier there was what appeared to be a clear defensive pass interference that in that circumstance it seemed like the official decided he didn't want to get involved. But on that play, the referee himself got involved.
It's difficult.
It is.
It's hard to go through that ethical dilemma and decide which way you want to go with that.
And I know that, you know, what I'm talking about is much more prevalent in baseball and hockey, where games are called very differently in different situations at different times of the season. And right now, Don Hall is going to get his money's worth.
Boy, he's got to be sick to his stomach as well to have these teams in position late in these games the last several years. And just, you know, it comes down to little bounces and little plays. What happens if the Gators do jump on top of that fumble by Bladell? What happens if they don't get the first touchdown called back? What happens, you know, on the devil's advocate side, what happens if they're not offside and that onside kick goes the distance? I mean, these games, there's such a razor-thin margin for error, and tough to see the last few years that those bounces have just not gone the Gators' way.
Tigers take the knee, and that will do it as the Moon Tigers defeat the Gateway Gators in the 4-5 matchup and advance to the WPIAL semifinals, where they will take on the Peters Township Indians, a team out of their own conference.
Yeah, they'll be looking for revenge in that one after getting lambasted 40-7 in that one. They got an early turnover, turned it into a score, and then Peters just sort of turned it on. And I know a lot of folks think that they're going to have a clear path to the finals against either Penn Hills or Pine Richland, who look like they're going to be meeting next week in that 2-3 matchup. But Moon's certainly going to try to replicate what they did tonight, which is run the ball incredibly effective, control the game from that standpoint, possess the ball much longer than their counterparts. And hey, even still with that in mind, the Gators put up 31 points tonight, did enough offensively to give themselves a chance to win. And credit to Moon's rushing attack on offense. They did just enough to carry that ball just long enough to limit the opportunities for the Gators to blow this one open offensively.
3 teams out of the Big East Conference make the playoffs. All 3 of them have been eliminated, and that means that there will be 2 conference rematches in the semifinals next week.
Yeah, we knew it was a bit of a down year for the Big East, and certainly Franklin Regional and Penn Trafford had tough draws tonight against the top 2 seeds, and the Gators are going to be kicking themselves as a game that another one that they feel they should have won. And certainly all credit to Moon. They came out and were worthy winners at the end of tonight, but just those little mistakes and those little errors kept the Gators back from advancing for a 3rd straight year, and this one's got to make them really sick.
And, this is the toughest part of the season each and every year, as we've called games for years together at this point, to watch whether it be the home team or the away team, the Gateway Gators or the team they're playing get eliminated from the playoffs, because it's just so hard to watch so many young men have their careers end.
It's the end of the Brad Birch era. It's the end of seeing Jaquan Reynolds out there. We didn't see him play this season, but no more Remy Bowes. Kenny Lewis will move on after this game. And so talk about some guys that have been real stalwarts and real upholders of this culture of the program. And it's just a shame that they weren't able, this nucleus of players, to ever really fully put it together for a deep postseason run.
Well, the cupboard far from bare for the Gateway Gators. They will return next year with a host of returning talent, but one big question mark has definitely got to be the running back. The other question mark, the QB.
Sure. We saw Sid Bryant start a couple games this year. We saw Jackson Smith, at least in the running side of things, look pretty sharp, albeit during JV-esque type action. But we're going to have some guys, and it's never an issue for Gateway. They always seem to find that next level. We always seem to find juniors and seniors that are incredibly talented that I haven't heard this name before. I haven't seen this guy play under the Friday Night Lights. So they'll be back next season. I'm sure they'll be a preseason contender in the thoughts and minds of many. And until then, it's going to be a long off season in the weight room of trying to remember this feeling and make sure it doesn't happen again next year.
Congratulations to the Moon Tigers, who just ran the air out of the football today. And every time they had the ball in their hands, they basically got it done.
They did. Credit to them. They took care of the ball. The 2 times that they fumbled, they fell back on it. They played a very, very clean, mistake-free game. Not a ton of penalties, very well coached. But this is a program that's only 2 years removed from playing at Acrisure and being one drop pass away from upending Penn Trafford and being WPIAL champions themselves. So what they've got cooking over there in Moon area is a decent program. Last year they were a young team. They took their lumps, went 1-9, brought 15 starters back on the 2 sides of the balls we talked about, and that's come to fruition. They came out of a tough conference, won 5 of their last 7, and now they have an opportunity to shock the world and beat the number 1 seed, the only undefeated team in 5A.
Gateway finishes their season 5-6, while the Tigers improve their record to 6-5. That'll do it for our coverage today here on the NFHS Network. Make sure you tune in to the WPIAL Volleyball Championships starting at 11 a.m. tomorrow here on the NFHS Network. That'll do it for our coverage with our crew on Gateway football this year. So we want to thank everybody involved, including our camera operators, Dale Breakall, Bree Gusky, and Lee Schaefer Jr., our director, Lee Schaefer III, our replay operator, Allie Gusky, of course, Vince Russo, my broadcast partner all season, Spencer Witt, Bob Orquist also joining us. I'm Adam Gusky, thanking you for joining us as the Gateway Gators fall to the Moon Tigers and Moon advances to the WPIAL semifinals on the NFHS Network.